Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome once again to my altar room. Now, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome. Either way, it's great to have you here as part of the collective, if this resonates with you, of course. And if you're returning, thank you for your continuous support or just passing through. To each their own, as I say, we each have our own paths and our own experiences to go through and embrace. So this is the collective reading for December 7th of 2025 to December 13th of 2025. Already heading into the first week of December. First full week, that is. Oh my. Well, actually, second full week. Where's the time going? Where's the brain? I'm a bit discombobulated today. It's not a surprise, but hey, life does that, the mind does that, time does that, but it's how one moves through and works through things, but also healthily acknowledges. And I believe that's what's going to lead us into this reading. This isn't in energies, a message of this week. Again, whether this applies to you or not, that's up to you to discern, as I said. But again, take away what does or leave behind what does not. So the message this week I already am getting as grace and compassion already, and patience and composure. That's what came through to me as I was getting things ready, not only with how things were appearing for me and not quite into alignment for me, but also just overall, I guess. That's a message I'm getting from my guides, and that's what I'm going to relay to you also. And the crystal of this week that's going to guide us, and in conjunction with that message and energies, again, I did not cast my crystals. I actually pulled this by guidance from the guides, my guides, the spirits I work with, and let's call it the powers that be, or just the overall energies that I pull from and connect with. And with that being said, sorry about that. It's the angle and it's a tripod I'm using. That was part of the joys. Let's just put it that way. But, yeah, so this is rhodonite, not rhodochrosite. I was about to say for some reason rhodochrosite, but it's rhodonite. This is a large palm stone that I've not worked with in quite a while. That could be obviously a message to reconnect with something you have not worked with in a while or approach from a different perspective. I believe that's also part of the message this week. Be open and receptive to new things and reapproaching things from a different lens and a different learning in a healthy emotional state. So this crystal rhodonite here, I did get in, of course, Salem, in Village Silversmith. So it is large, it's a great specimen full of energy, and it's pulsing, but it's a loving energy. So rhodonite is guiding us this week as she is a crystal that guides and connects to the heart chakra and reminds us and wants to remind us this week of compassion, healing our emotional center and wounds, to move through and ahead, and forgiveness. Not only forgiveness of others, and that's not for necessarily their benefit, but more for your emotional benefit. Because, again, it's about your well being first and foremost, and then that which affects and cares about, that you care about, or what cares about you truly in this life, in this experience. But self forgiveness, that's the main thing. Continue to have this collective, I feel, has been working on self forgiveness. I know I certainly have, and it's a continuous, hard and arduous thing to do. But I've made many leaps and bounds towards that. So, yes. But self-forgiveness for the things that maybe you could have done differently, the things that you did not do that you had, or things that you were apathetic to, not so much, or could have done earlier in this life. Now, again, divine timing may not seem right. We may feel like we fell behind or we're not in the right path, but many things are right. Let's put it that way, and many things continue to be right, and we show up differently for each stages and moments of our lives. So that's what Rhodonite is telling us, to have grace and compassion for ourselves, and to show love to ourselves and self-love and love and grace towards others. The best way we kind of know how. Forgiveness is so empowering when looked at from the right lens and perspective, but being open and receptive and not so guarded. Yes, you have to have defined clear boundaries and be grounded in this ever-changing life and experience, but you also have, it's not great to be so prickly and defensive at things and potentially try to protect your own energy, but also be receptive to other energies. It's about balance. That's what I'm being told. It's about a healthy balance and emotional balance. And that's going to help to not only help you feel in this ever-changing world, being emotionally balanced, but also receptive to change and bringing about the change that you need. And to seek the change that you need and be willing to do so, whether it takes you a few hours or whether it's a minor step in what may be months or years. It's all about grace. It's all about flowing in doing. So yeah, so that's the main crystal message and part of the message this week. This week's decks I'm using are the same and repetitive from last week. They've been working. That's what I feel drawn to for the collective. I have here, again, the angle of my camera, so we're just working with it, so bear with me. The Thoth deck by Aleister Crowley, or Crowley, however you say it, Thoth, and by Lady Frida Harris, a true magical work of art. She will always be my home deck, my companion, and my highest form of magic and expression of self. Then I have here, and it's mass market, by the way, so easily accessible, but would also be great in indie form. So yeah, but it's easily accessible. This one, not so much. This is the Haunted Manor Oracle by Syrian Shadows. Look at that beautiful red gilding and backs of that deck. And the Haunted Manor Oracle is my favorite oracle and has been since I've gotten it. I have such a love affair with her. The black and red, my two favorite colors, hence you see the background, and often what I wear if you've seen any of that. So, yes. And of course, it's out of print. But if you can find it and you feel drawn to the imagery or the messages, the images and messages of the keywords are amazing. She works well with many decks, whether you are into the more darker inclined like myself or was considered the more darker inclined, or whether you're into other types of decks or common or indie, it does not matter. So she works well. And then as another deck by Syrian Shadows, the Earth and Bone. I wish I had the indie. I cannot find it. Hopefully, maybe someday it will come to me. At this time, though, I am blessed to have the mass market version of this deck, also by Syrian Shadows, the Earth and Bone. So let's get into the reading, because my readings do get rather long and rambly. The rest of my reading, should I say, as the Rhodonite was a message in itself, herself. And whether or not you have Rhodonite in your collection and you're a collector like I am, or is it in your magical toolkit like I am and use crystals, or whether you just want to embody those qualities and things. So what goes along? What does this collective most need to be mindful of and aware of energetically? And maybe guidance to help to have an empowered, effective week through this life experience that this week, this current week starting today, December, will bring into us. And what will this collective interact with? What will interact with the collective? And maybe energies or things to be mindful of to be better prepared and have a better life experience no matter what may come to be. And to help achieve self-forgiveness and self-love and self-compassion, and therefore being able to receive it from others and feel deemed worthy. That's another message of Rhodonite. Just know that you're worthy of love and respect, and that you can attract that, and what you give out reaches the right people in the right circumstances. If others are deaf to it, that's on them. Let's see. No, we're not doing 5 cards. Getting jumbled messages. That might be something too. Refocus, but refocus in a healthy way. Don't beat yourself up over things. Just acknowledge, don't repress, and refocus and go for what works. Okay, so it's 3 from top. Okay, let's see. We have the High Priestess once again. That's appropriate for the Rhodonite once again, and for the message so far. Self-trust. Trust in your inner vision, your inner voice, your enlightenment, and what you may walk with, work with, or connected with. Feel that calm. Feel what makes you feel centered and what helps you to know and whom you are and what you can trust. But most of all, trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust in the guidance of yourself first and foremost. You are your own star. You don't need to look for external validation or external sources. They certainly help. That support is definitely help, but first find that within yourself. Secondly, we have this jumped out for me this morning when I was getting this deck ready, because it's not a deck I work with every day, but prudence. Well, the key word is prudence, but it's the 8 of Pentacles. So that's patience. That is having prudence. That's having composure. It's being able to build slowly with mastery without having to, and maybe rebuild and pick up the pieces, but pull and find new raw materials to build, to grow. Now, we're in winter here if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, or in New York State like myself, especially if you are on the East Coast. Yeah, it's cold. But it's what you're going to continue to cultivate that's going to get you through. It's not what you have in the past. The past is something to recognize and acknowledge, but what didn't work, just let it go, acknowledge it, and find what works. But also just be prudent. Be healthily prudent. Don't sit there and have to feel like you're overwhelmed or have to quickly build things. That only causes obsession, anxiety, and unhealthy habits. Rebuild yourself. You have the strength to do so. You are building and growing and evolving. And with that being said, another major arcana, the Hierophant. Now there's 2, and it goes inappropriate. I think we have had in a collective reading or something like that. I know we had the Hierophant last week, but the Hierophant again showing up with the High Priestess, learning, higher learning. The Hierophant can be very dogmatic, very structured, very sometimes forceful. The rules and regulations or the expectations we pose on ourselves or others. This is the message that's been coming up for myself consistently and pointedly, but I know for this collective too, as of recently, probably the past couple weeks, if not longer. So, but in this case, the Hierophant doesn't always have to be that. You can have a guidance in a healthy, empowered way. You can have a great teacher. You can be a teacher to yourself. You can be a teacher to others. We are, after all, our best teachers and our best students at the same time. This human life experience does not have a guide in it. It does not come with a manual, But we should be looking to learn from what we have done and what we haven't done, and what we are in the present and what we're creating in the future. That's going to make our future selves proud and more stable for whatever life may deal on that. Life's often difficult, and it's becoming more difficult, but having those right learning and foundations. And that Hierophant is also saying about higher learning. So listen to your guides. the guidance of whatever you may work with or walk with or worship, if any of those things may apply to you in your circumstance, the deities, like much like myself, you work with, the spirits, your spirit guides, your angels, whatever they may be, your animals, the people in your life, your friends, your true family, the ones that you feel connected to, the true friends, the things that light you up, the books you like to read or listen to, if you have issues like myself with eyesight, um, the people you like to connect with, the TV shows, the things that bring you laughter and joy or remind you of the good times of your youth, and the things that you built and all so much you've accomplished with. You are being truly and divinely connected no matter like what system or dogma you face. Dogma's not necessarily a bad thing. Um, so yeah. And the high priestess though is saying, think before you speak. Think before you take action. Kind of sit passively. There's no need this week. You're slowly building. You don't have to be forceful. You don't have to be angsty. It's okay to make an error. You're human. But to reframe it, learn from it. But don't beat yourself up. Don't beat up others as best as you can. Just be, just you. You're slowly rebuilding yourself and building a better future for yourself. And that's really what matters in your life. This collective, I feel, just like myself, has the ability to evolve and grow. Much like the snake or a serpent, you're eventually grow out of your old patterns, your own life, and what no longer serves. You become bigger, stronger, and better, and more enlightened. And you guide others very well, and you teach others well, but you also be willing to be taught and be willing to receive that love and know that you are worthy. That's the message. So let's see. So you're being taught, you're creating, and you're listening this week. But you're doing so not fully passively, but in a very active, constructive way and with constructive analysis. And you're helping many others along the way. This collective, like I said, are great guides themselves. Your guide to yourselves and guide to that which matters and actually is willing to receive themselves and listen. So let's see what the Haunted Manor has. No jumbled message, guides. Again. Okay, one from the top and one from the bottom. A little okay. I think they're trying to teach me certain lessons as they have been. But ultimately, it's up to me to decide what works and what truly isn't. And let's see, one from the top and one from the bottom. Let's see what we have here. Okay, from the top, antique key. Unlock your potential. I love keys. I obviously work with Hecate and Hades, which keys are amazing. Not only are they to unlock doors and paths and provide answers or something through another side to obtain, but they are also very protective. If you don't have the right key at the right time, maybe you're not supposed to enter. Or maybe you find it, and that's when you are supposed to find something on the other side. And that is your inner potential. There is things that at certain points of your life you were not ready to embrace, learn, maybe maturity, maybe the lessons you had to learn, maybe knowledge you had to attain, maybe how you looked at yourself and how you could hold that. And now it is the time to unlock your potential. Whether you are an artist trying to create something, whether you are your day-to-day job, your knowledge, your home, the potential you have to be a better version of yourself, and the potential just to be an inspiration to others, that you want to be an inspiration to, but yourselves. You have that potential and power within you, much like that High Priestess, the Hierophant, and the Eight of Pentacles being prudent with it. And the bottom one is Moth. So this one also is, bear with me because of my eyes. Creative Magic. Sorry about that. If you watch any of my previous videos at all, you'll know that my impairment with my eyes can often make sometimes reading cards, amongst many other things and layers, a bit difficult. But you know what? I still am empowering myself. You don't give up. But look at those beautiful moths and going to that light. This collective follows their inner light and their outer light in a very harmonious way. Creative Magic is, just like I said about my eyesight, it is reframing and refocusing, using your resources. How can I approach something differently? How can I respond differently? I'm responsible for myself. The magic that I hold in myself and I send out to the world each moment of every day. You are truly magic, this collective is. So it's being creative with your resources, being creative with your experiences, and continuing to achieve and finding what lights you up and what your light is. Each of our light is different, and the light we follow is each different, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the final message, or one card I'm being told again, is coming from Earth and Bone. And yeah, I knew it would throw something at me. It's also saying probably get the reading done. 1 second. I don't edit my videos, as you much tell. The algorithm, well, is a electronic thing. It has no real determination. It just favors whatever. Who cares? It reaches who it matters. Just as other things reach me that really matters. Not, oh, I find this one can pop up in the feed. So, look at this. Got a beautiful one from the Earth and Bone. Very appropriate and goes with both the High Priestess energy and the predominant Hierophant energies, both conjunctive this week. And the key of unlocking potential and creative magic, the Owl. So that is wisdom, independent thinking, and enlightenment. Wow, what a wrap up and takeaway, and how the cards so well speak together, not only by voice, aesthetically, but also in how well they communicate with each other and with the message. The owl is beautiful. The owl sees in the dark, the nocturnal. It sees and it knows. It waits and observes. It goes after what it needs to survive as needed and as necessary, but obtains such wisdom and experience through the experiences and lessons it has learned. But it is very objective with things on that and has a great perspective, married with its perceptions of its world and its experiences. So you are wise. You've obtained that. I feel that this collective is starting to level up through all the hard past year of 2025 and the past several years that has presented themselves, and building on that to be approaching 2026 and maybe actually creating something much better. We all don't know, but we can continue to be fairly optimistic but realistic with our experiences and continue to always learn and find your higher learning and your higher ground. And with that being said, if any of this resonates with you, please comment below. It certainly helps me in my channel and my guides, well, knowing that my guides and what I'm working with is truly reaching you and whom it's meant to. And also, by liking, comment, subscribing, or hitting that notification bell, you'll find my videos because they're often buried in a algorithm. And with that being said, have a effective, empowered week and stay strange.